Before we begin tonight, I want you to relax for a moment. Settle in, breathe slowly, and let the noise of the day fade away. Because where we're about to go is nothing like the comfort you're in now. It's cold, dim, and carved out of stone. A place where time crawled, and where survival was never promised. Tonight, we're stepping into a medieval prison, a world of darkness, filth, and quiet fear. A place very few people ever walked out of. And as you'll discover, no modern person, no matter how strong, would last even a single day there. But you're safe here, warm here. You're only visiting from a distance. So if you want to close your eyes, you can. Let your mind drift. And together we'll take our first step into the past. You're not arrested the way you might imagine. There is no officer explaining your rights. No paperwork, no phone call. In the medieval world, an accusation, true or false, was already a sentence. Two guards, sometimes drunk, sometimes barely awake, grab you by the arm. One holds a torch, the flame flickering in the evening breeze. The other ties your wrists with a rough rope. The rope bites instantly into your skin. It's been used 100 times before, frayed and stained. You try to ask what's happening. The guard doesn't answer. He doesn't have to. He probably doesn't know the exact reason himself. His job isn't justice. His job is transport. People gather around you. A few children point. A woman scowls. Someone whispers that you must have stolen something, or insulted a noble, or failed to pay a tax. It doesn't matter what happened. What matters is that you've been taken, and that alone is enough to ruin a life. The streets are darker than you expect. Medieval towns didn't waste candles or torches on the poor. Shadows cover everything. The shapes of abandoned carts, shuttered windows, stray dogs sniffing for scraps. Your feet slip in the mud. You try to keep your balance, but the guard behind you shoves your back, hard. People from the tavern watch for a moment, then turn away as if seeing someone being arrested is as normal as watching a cart roll by. In their world, it was. Somewhere in the distance, a church bell rings, the night deepens, and finally the prison comes into view. It doesn't look like the prisons you see in movies. There are no iron bars shining from a well-lit hallway. No guards pacing with keys clinking at their hips. Instead, it's a thick wooden door reinforced with blackened iron bands. A door designed not just to keep people inside, but to hide whatever suffering happens beyond it. A guard pulls it open. The wood groans, as though annoyed at having its rest disturbed. A wave of air escapes, not wind, just the stale breath of 1,000 days trapped inside. It hits you, a mix of sweat, mold, urine, damp straw, and something else. Something metallic and unmistakably human. Blood. You gag before you even step inside. The guard laughs. Everyone laughs. Because this happens every single time a new prisoner enters. This smell is a test you've already failed. The torchlight doesn't reach far once the door closes behind you. It feels as if the flame itself is afraid of the darkness in this place. You hear sounds before your eyes adjust, coughing, shivering, the faint rattle of a chain being pulled, a voice murmuring in the corner, praying or whispering to someone long gone. Your eyes slowly begin to see shapes. Stone walls slick with moisture, ground covered with straw that hasn't been changed in months, and figures curled in corners like discarded blankets. No one speaks to you. Prisoners learned long ago that newcomers don't last long. You're shoved forward, and before you can blink, clang echoes through the hall. The door isn't just closed, it's bolted shut, and the last light disappears. Your eyes finally adjust enough to see what lies around you. You wish they hadn't. There's barely any space. Every corner is occupied by someone else who surrendered their hope weeks ago. A man coughs violently. He wipes his mouth, and his hand comes away dark in the dim light. Nobody reacts, not even him. A rat runs across your shoe, not frightened, not cautious, just passing through its home. You are the intruder here. The floor is wet, not from rain. This is moisture pulled from deep beneath the prison, rising through the stone. mixing with sweat and filth. You feel the cold move through your feet, up your legs and into your bones. Your body realizes something long before your mind does. There is no warmth here. Not tonight. Not tomorrow. Perhaps not ever. Some prisoners are allowed to sit freely. Others are chained directly to the walls. You are one of them. A guard fastens an iron ring around your ankle. It closes with a dull click, followed by a sharp bolt hammered through its hinge. The iron is cold. The metal bites your skin instantly. It's heavy enough that you can only shuffle a foot or two, and when you try to adjust your position, the chain scrapes the stone floor and sends a harsh echo through the room. A prisoner groans in annoyance. Another mutters a curse. Everyone is tired. Everyone is sore. You try to stretch, you can't. The chain is too short. You try to raise your knee. The iron cuts into your skin. Within minutes, the pain settles into your bones. A dull, constant aching that tells you, get used to this. This is your new normal. Hours pass, or maybe minutes. Time is impossible to feel here. Eventually, the door opens again. A guard pushes a wooden bowl across the floor. It stops near your foot. Inside is a chunk of bread, stale, hard, unevenly baked. It's the size of your fist, and it looks older than the prison itself. This is dinner. This is breakfast. This is sometimes your food for an entire day. You try to bite it, your teeth struggle. The dough feels like a stone. The taste is something between sour and moldy, but you swallow anyway, because hunger has no pride. If you're lucky, you're given water. Cloudy water. Water that tastes of wood and rot. Water that has tiny flakes floating in it, like dust suspended in a forgotten bottle. But in a medieval prison, unpleasant was not a reason to refuse. It was barely even noticeable. People drank worse to stay alive. You feel something crawl on your arm, a flea or a louse. You brush it off, but it doesn't matter. Within a day, you'll be covered with hundreds more. There are no toilets. Prisoners relieve themselves in corners. Some are too weak to move and do it where they lie. The floor is stained with old waste, mixed into the straw like dark patches of history no one wants to touch. Your ankles itch. Your back itches. You scratch one spot, only for two more to begin burning. The smell, it's impossible to fully describe. A sour, living smell, like the very walls are breathing sickness. And maybe they are. Medieval prisons were breeding grounds for typhus, plague, dysentery. Prison fever alone killed thousands. People were dragged in for petty crimes and carried out in silence, wrapped in blankets, their bodies cold long before sunrise. Not every prisoner was tortured, but the threat of the torture room hung over everyone. Somewhere deeper inside the building, you hear a scream, then silence, then the muffled thud of a door closing. Your heart tightens. Even the prisoners on either side of you sit still, not out of sympathy, but fear. Torture wasn't used for punishment. It was used to get answers. True or false didn't matter. A confession was all the court needed. Guards carried tools you hope never to see. Thumb screws, iron boots, ropes, and wooden frames. Sometimes the tools weren't even used. Showing them was enough. But the worst torture wasn't physical. It was the endless waiting, the silence broken by distant agony, the knowledge that at any moment your name might be called, and you'd walk deeper into the darkness. Medieval prisons had no guards inside the cells. Once the door closed, the prisoners controlled everything. There was a hierarchy, not official, not written, just understood. The strongest, the longest imprisoned, or the most feared inmate became the cell boss. You, as the newcomer, are instantly at the bottom. Someone steals a portion of your bread. Another takes your place against the wall. Someone else demands your water in exchange for protection. This is not bullying. This is survival. Food, space, blankets, even rotten ones, are valuable currency. And you are poor. As the night continues, we travel beyond your cell and visit other prisons across the medieval world. In Scandinavia, Winter prisons froze people alive. Frost-covered walls inside the cells. Breath turned to mist instantly. To survive a single night took strength few possessed. In Italy, particularly in Venice and Florence, political prisoners filled fortress prisons. Interrogations were severe. Justice was slow. And some people spent decades in darkness. In Islamic regions, prisons were slightly more organized, but still overcrowded. Whipping was common. Death sentences were long. Ventilation was minimal. Every region had its own methods. But the experience was nearly universal. Cold, hunger, fear, and neglect. Try to sleep. Just try. You lie down on the stone floor. The chain around your ankle prevents you from stretching your legs fully. You turn to the side. The stone is cold enough to numb your hip. You turn again. The chain scrapes loudly. Someone curses at you from the other side of the room. A rat brushes past your hand. You pull back instinctively, but you cannot move far. The air is thick, damp, hard to breathe. Someone coughs again. Long, deep, painful. Water drips slowly from somewhere above. Every drop echoes, like a reminder that time is passing painfully, 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 painfully slowly. Hours feel like days. Minutes feel like hours. Your body aches, your stomach twists, your neck stiffens. You close your eyes and drift, half asleep, half awake, lost in a haze of exhaustion, and yet you do not find rest. No one does. Medieval prisons were not meant for sleep. They were meant for breaking people. The door opens again. Your heart jumps. A guard reads names. Some prisoners are taken for trial, others for labor, others never come back. Trials are quick, sometimes 3 minutes, sometimes less. Evidence doesn't matter. Testimony doesn't matter. Your social status does. Some are fined, some are branded, some are mutilated, some are hanged, some are simply forgotten here, left to rot until illness or time claims them. And a few escape, not many, not often, but enough that guards tell dramatic stories after their shift, exaggerating details, laughing about near misses. A good escape story entertains them. Life inside the prison rarely does. Morning arrives slowly, not through sunlight, but through the changing pattern of sounds. The city above wakes. You hear wagons rolling, tools clanking, a market crier shouting prices. None of that light or warmth reaches you. A bucket of water is dropped into the room. A second bowl of food is pushed inside. Someone fights over it. Someone else loses. Blood mixes with the straw. Your ankle bleeds. Your head aches. Your stomach cramps. You try to stand, but the chain restricts you. You try to stretch, but the pain is too sharp. And after all of this, after hunger, fear, filth, cold, and sleeplessness, you realize something simple, something terrifying, something that becomes clear to every prisoner eventually. This was only the first day. Most people didn't survive a week, some not even 2 days. And you, well, you wouldn't last that long. Not because you're weak, but because medieval prisons were designed, not just to hold the body, but to crush the spirit. And spirit is the first thing that breaks. Slowly, the cell fades. The cold stone, the damp straw, the clinking chain, all melt back into the quiet of your room. You're safe, you're warm, and you can step out of that world now. But remember this, for thousands of people, this wasn't a story, it wasn't a video, it was their life, and most of them never walked out. Thank you for listening, and I hope this journey into the past helps you appreciate the comfort, safety, and humanity that we often take for granted today. Sleep well, and may your nights be warmer than those spent in the cells of history.